always make sure the equipment is well maintained.
And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to remind everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. There's a PayPal link down there for anybody that wants to share some love. Always appreciated. And, of course, the StreamYard link is there for anybody that wants to join the panel. And we're talking about insane clowns entering homes and arresting moms with no authority. We're going to take a look at a video tonight, but before we do, I want to check out a little short here, get things started off a little comedic tone. So let's take a look.
I'm telling you, just wait.
Vaccine passport? Yeah, but I need proof of at least 10 booster shots. Okay, AIDS vaccine passport. I'm going to need an allergy test. Lyme disease, chickenpox, H1N1, rabies tag. Now I just got to check your white guilt score. 9.7. Wow, not bad, man. Just got to scan you for male toxicity. Would you have sex with a trans woman?
Yes.
Can men have babies?
Yes.
Do all lives matter?
Yeah. No.
I need proof of a black friend. Okay. How many pronouns are there?
92,627.
All right.
This is what we're coming to, folks. This is the test we're going to put our children through.
Put your mask on and show them your receipt.
I actually lost the receipt.
How are we supposed to give you your laundry if you don't have the receipt?
Just to go get your laundry done. Are you willing to be that much of a slave? I mean, really?
I think this is exactly how crazy and deranged that the left has become. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in control, that they would mandate a lot of these different things. In some form or fashion, they already do. To do basic things, like pick up your laundry. This is a fun...
Exactly. Just to pick up your laundry. Okay, so let's get into it. Come on.
Officer,
I am not going to step outside your house.
You do not have a warrant to be inside of my house.
I'm not inside your house.
Officer,
I am not going to step outside your house.
You do not have a warrant to be inside of my house.
I'm not inside your house. Okay.
You're inside of my house.
Let me tell you why I'm right here.
I'm not inside of your house. While he's standing inside of her house, foot against the door, won't let her shut the door, and now it's, let me tell you why I'm here. No, you're in my house. You're not supposed to be here.
Because you walked in.
No, because they opened the door and ran from me.
And
That's
I'm
why.
telling you, I am the
Okay,
adult
and I'm
here.
telling
This
you
is my home.
that now that I'm inside your house, I own your house
No,
right
you
now.
do not.
Yes,
Now that I'm inside your house, after he said he wasn't inside the house, now he's inside the house, he's admitting it, and now all of a sudden, he owns the house. Do you see the insanity? Do you see this guy as nothing but a fucking clown? When are you going to wake up to it, people? This is the authority that they pose they have. Keith, the police are your authority. The fuck if they are.
What
I
need-
know my rights.
I don't care if you know your rights.
That cop showed up to this woman's front door on a very minor loudness complaint from this woman's neighbor. He has no warrant. He's refusing to leave. He enters her home, grabs her, and drags her outside and performs a warrantless arrest. This woman is still being charged criminally. I will explain to you the binding case law that establishes without any doubt that this police officer violated this woman's constitutional rights so that you can do what's necessary, and that is share it with others and inform others. And if anyone wants an explanation for why this violates the Constitution, you can show them this video. Many of you have discovered that it can be nearly impossible to find a civil rights lawyer. Although I get calls from all around the country every day, I'm only one person. Shows a Riverside County deputy being arrested in the home of son. They are now agency involved. This is the River Oregon. At this video was making the rounds on Twitter, and now it has been reported on in the Desert Sun. Now the media has gotten a response from the law enforcement agency involved. This is the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, and apparently, according to the Desert Sun, they are now investigating the circumstances that led to the woman, the homeowner in this video, being arrested in the early hours of July 4th. This video shows a Riverside County deputy.
July 4th. Imagine that day of independence, and all they got to do is walk in your home and say that they aren't in your home, but why they're there, and since I'm in your home, I own it now. This is the insanity of the liberty you chase when you think these people are your authority.
Refusing to leave a woman's residence despite her repeated requests for him to do so. The video shows that the deputy approached the front door of this house, reportedly due to a loudness complaint from a next door neighbor. He rings the doorbell, he backs off, and he waits. According to the video.
Greetings, Browns boy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well.
Oh,
going-
yeah, go for it.
Just going over some more of the insanity, you know me.
Yeah, I saw the title. It said like, more insanity, and I felt like there's no better place to actually view it. So I thought I'd stop in, see what's going on here.
Absolutely appreciate it, brother.
You too.
This guy, in case you didn't catch it, this guy entered into this woman's home, said he wasn't in her home, and then tried to ask her, "Do you know why I'm here?" And then turn around and profess that I'm in your house, and since I'm in your house, I own it. This guy is totally delusional and actually believes it himself. At least that's what you would think, the way he's trying to enforce it.
Oh, it's a cop?
Yeah.
Okay, because like before I heard you say cop, I thought it was just a random person, and I was like, yo, this is some real insanity.
Well, yeah, this is real insanity. These are supposed to be the people that are supposed to protect your home. You know, that Fourth Amendment. No, all people have a right to be secure in their persons, papers, and effects, and they're the ones that are going to deny all of it. That's the insanity.
Yeah, technically,
a minor then answers the door.
Technically, like somebody you don't know breaking into your house is, I mean, potentially less of a threat. You can make an argument.
Oh yeah, Yeah, at least there, and we've seen many times that they're offered a different form of repentance and judgment and everything. Oftentimes, the homeowner finds his own ways and means,
Now,
and rather than calling the police, because they feel more justified in leaving the police out of there, because they already feel bad enough for the victims of those criminal gangs, despite the fact that they commit crimes, because they know the sentencing is outrageous, or the indoctrination, or whatever it is. They're not so caught up in that judgment era, and so they try to help people that are in those positions um, to alleviate their judgment from society, but still give them a form of repentance, whether it be, servitude to fix the window they broke that they used to break into my home or whatever. The guy that met the guy at the back door with a gun of his own.
it sounds like
and
you're talking about like honor.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
have you now let me ask this, because there's many videos like this where the warrant is actually served at the wrong address, which is even more craziness. But is this one where they actually did make it to the correct address this time?
No, they didn't even have a warrant. He was
Oh,
chasing some kids. They opened the door and went in the house, and he used that as a reason to enter the house.
who
What were you
chased
chasing
kids?
the kids for? The police officer. What were you chasing the kids for? Would be my first question. Ain't nobody asked that yet.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't get that part where like who was chasing kids?
Yeah, the police officer. That's why he says he has a right to be in her home. No, you don't.
Oh,
Those
because
are
what
minors.
he's calling hot pursuit is what he's claiming.
Yep. Yep.
Of what?
Chasing after those kids. But there's no crime.
Okay.
He was just chasing them. Nobody's come up with any crime or anything. The only thing he stated was he was chasing those kids.
I see. All right, this is a very murky area. I see now. Okay.
A reasonable officer would say, "Well, I was chasing down the suspects of a robbery.
Well, what are his claims? What is he? What
I was chasing down those kids. He knew they were kids.
That's what he's. I mean, like, is that what his statement was?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't say for a reason.
No. Just chasing down the kids.
He goes. The story begins. I started chasing kids. That sounds retarded.
I know. Yes, I know. What I know my rights.
I don't care if you know your rights.
That cop showed up to this woman's front door.
My house.
Let me tell you why I'm right here.
Because you walked in.
No, because they opened the door and ran from me.
And
That's
I'm
why.
telling you.
Because they opened the door and ran from me.
Because they're the biggest, they have the ability not to settle for lowball offers. Last year in Florida, they got a victim who was in a life-altering car crash. 12.com/the, and apparently, according to the Desert Sun, they are now investigating the circumstances that led to the woman, the homeowner in this video, being arrested in the early hours of July 4th. This video shows a Riverside County deputy. Refusing to leave a woman's residence despite her repeated requests for him to do so. The video shows that the deputy...
Damn it, I just lost my video. I'll be right back. I'm going to refresh and I have to pull it up.
Okay.
Hang out, brother. I'll be right back.
This is craziness, folks. This is I forget the title, but it is insanity. It is definitely cognitive dissonance and a little bit of Stockholm. You know, it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure out you got Stockholm syndrome a little bit. I'm guessing a little bit of amnesia and numb hearts. Those are my best guesses.
All right, we are back, and thanks for filling in. And let's get into her again.
He approached the front door of this house, reportedly due to a loudness complaint from a next-door neighbor. He rings.
So it was a loudness complaint from the next-door neighbor. It had nothing to do with the kids. It merely was that they opened the door and ran inside away from him, so he thought he had a reason to do something. No. You were there on a complaint from the neighbor for loud noises. You're supposed to go to the neighbor and take their statement. Instead, he comes up to this door, and because the kids opened it and ran inside, he thought he had something else to do.
That's super gray. And
Yeah.
you know, like
Well,
unfortunately, like there's literal tests that prove that when their authority gets tested or whatever, that their cerebral frontal cortex or whatever that's responsible for making able decisions in the moment actually is shut down or atrophied. So like this guy is now he doesn't believe he's confused, like he doesn't know he's confused basically, to give him some grace, but that doesn't negate him breaking laws if that's what he's doing.
yeah, not at all. It doesn't negate that simple thing that ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Exactly.
So if I can point out a simple fallacy as a common layman in plain language, then it should be simple enough for the rest of the population to comprehend. And the problem is that the rest of the population doesn't want to comprehend. That's too much work. They like their cognitive dissonance, the comfort and convenience of handing over all those responsibilities, of doing all of that thinking. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. It's too hard.
He backs off and he waits. According to the video, a minor then answers the door, sees that it's a cop, and then closes the door. But he doesn't take no for an answer. He tries to force his way into the house and he refuses to let the door be closed. The video then shows the deputy arguing with a woman identified by the sheriff's office as Adele Shirey, 44 years old, who tells the deputy that if he does not have a warrant, then she will speak to him outside.
And that's a Fourth Amendment violation. The people have the right to be secure in their houses, papers, persons, houses, papers, and effects. You cannot just go violating that.
Technically, she could have told him that she will have a discussion with him on the public sidewalk at this point.
Well, yeah, that's what she's doing here. Is she says she's going to talk to him outside. He won't go outside now.
Yeah, so she didn't even go all the way to the sidewalk, which actually shows more honor on her side.
Well,
it's there with his foot in the door tactic bullshit.
Right. Yeah. At this point, it's not a matter of honor.
On a
It's a matter
woman
of being
too, so he's definitely like extra not scared.
Right. And that's one thing that I want to make sure I point out here is I give this woman kudos that despite most people's thoughts about how I think about women and the protection status being that of a man, but if she's the only one there to protect, she most certainly should stand up in a masculine pose to do that protection. And that's what she's doing. She's saying, no, you get out. Those are minors. He knows they're minors, all this. And he's still trying to be dominant in the situation. And he has no authority to do so. This is a beta cuck corporate male that thinks everybody else is a slave.
That's true. That is a fair description. It doesn't tell everybody across all angles exactly how bad that of a description that is of that guy's character, but just in case anybody missed it, like this guy's acting in seemingly bad character right now, and this woman is stepping up, like El Perro said.
Yeah, she's the one that is already acting in honor because he refuses to.
I'm not going to back up. You don't have the right to be inside my house. I will talk to you outside.
Back up and talk to her outside. No,
You don't have a warrant. No, don't talk to them.
You
You don't have a warrant to be inside. I will talk to you outside. Officer, I will talk to you.
I am not going to step outside your house.
You do not have a
We're
warrant to
gonna
be
talk
inside
right
of my house.
I'm not inside your house.
The deputy who just stands there and
I'm not going to step outside your house. I am not going to leave your house.
I'm not going to step outside. I'm not in your house.
Oh.
I'm not going to step outside. Yeah, let's rewind that.
I think you might have
You don't have a
contradicted.
warrant to be inside. I will talk to you outside. Officer, I will talk
I
to
am
you
not
outside.
going to step outside your house.
You do not have a
We're
warrant
gonna
to be
talk
inside
right.
of my house.
I'm not inside your house.
the deputy
I am not going. Did you say I'm not going to step outside your house?
Yes, watch. Listen again. Listen again.
And he said I'm not in your house, but he's lying because he's not.
You do not have
Let
the
me tell
warrant
you.
to be inside. I will talk to you outside.
You want?
Officer, I will talk
I
to
am
you
not
outside.
gonna step outside your house.
You do not have a
We're
warrant
gonna
to be
talk
inside
right
of my house.
I'm not inside your house.
The
Ooh, that's even
deputy
worse.
just stands.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous how they think they can get away with this. This I don't know. There's a comment down in the chat that she's in
I know
jail,
what you're saying.
and
So,
I don't know how that could be possible. That
so,
any reasonable man would see this and say, "No, you can't do that, sir."
so I thought I heard him say, I am not going to step out of your house. And then he said, I am in your house. I'm not going to leave
No.
your house.
Right. Well, first he said, "I'm not going to step outside of your house," implying that he is inside the house and he's
Uh-huh.
not going to step outside. Then he
Yeah.
turns around and says, "I'm standing right here." And then he says, "I'm not in your house."
Right. Even though he had just said that he would not leave the house.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. And he's like,
There.
and this is the cortex that is shut down. But what I wanted to say on his defense is that because of his unfortunate programming, he is trying, literally in his mind, he is trying to inform the woman that this is not her house. This is now possession of whatever I say it is because of whatever I say it is.
Right. And that posing authority that he doesn't have.
He was telling her that that's not her house by not leaving.
Right. But he can't do that. That he doesn't have any claim on the house.
But he's claiming that the kid's in pursuit or whatever, thus making it not her house because it's a pursuit.
Pursuit for what? A loud noise?
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
He was called there by the neighbor for a loud noise.
Oh, that's it?
He went to her house instead of the neighbor's house where the service call was made.
Right.
And instead of going and talking to the neighbor and doing a proper investigation, he wanted to violate the Fifth Amendment to get a self-incrimination by going to her house instead.
Okay, well, let's excuse his faux pas for now, because until now, there's nothing that's completely unacceptable in my eyes that I am aware of. But now he's standing in her house. That's where it gets different from me.
Right, because outside of his house, when he was going over there to talk to her about the loud noise, not children. You don't talk to children. You talk to the
Definitely
adults of
don't
the
talk
house.
to children. They go get their parents to talk to you.
Right. So when they went inside and went to shut the door to go get mom, he went into the house after him. That's a no-no.
No, he didn't. Oh my gosh.
Outside the door's threshold tells Shirey that he will not leave the house. He asserts his right to be inside by pointing off screen and saying, "They opened the door and ran from me. Now that I'm in."
They opened the door and ran from me. That gives you no excuse.
Yeah, that is it's even worse. That's even a worse excuse than they opened up the door and closed it and then ran from me.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't even chasing them to begin with. He didn't start chasing until they got up, opened the door, and went inside.
Well, they're kids, idiot. You know, they didn't know what to do. They're going to go get their parents. So here the parents are.
Yep.
Inside your house. I own your house right now, the deputy says in the video.
You're inside of my house.
Let me tell you why I'm right here.
Because you walked in.
No, because they opened the door and ran from me.
And I'm telling you, I am the adult here. This is my home.
And now that I'm inside your house, I own your house right now.
And now that I'm inside your house.
I told you he was trying to inform her because of a crime. That's bullshit.
But listen to what he just said. He just said, "No, I'm not leaving. I'm not going outside of your house."
He
As
said,
I'm standing,
I own it.
I'm not in your house as he's standing in the house. Now he turns around and says this.
They opened the door and ran from me.
And
That's
I'm
why.
telling you, I am the
Okay, and I'm
adult here.
telling
This is
you
my home.
that now that I'm inside your house, I own your house.
Now that I'm inside your house.
His
Now is when
authority.
now he's admitting he's inside the house and hasn't moved
He's acting on authority.
and saying he owns the house.
House
No,
right
you
now.
do
Yes,
not.
I do.
You don't
Yes, I do. What
I know my
I don't
rights.
care if you know your rights.
And I'm telling you, my dog will bite you.
I don't care if you know your rights. I don't care if you know your rights.
No,
Right
you
now.
do
Yes,
not.
I do.
You don't
Yes, I do. What
I know my rights.
It's
I don't care if
just
you know your rights.
And I'm telling you, my dog will bite you if I tell her to bite you.
Tell
So
your
I'm
dog to
asking.
bite.
Say that?
he actually made more of a noise complaint than I think the actual complaint was actually about.
Absolutely. Escalate. Escalate.
Like, is that
Escalate.
called job security? Like, is that called doing paperwork for the next 6 hours for being an idiot?
That's called Napoleon complex.
And you back
Tell your
up,
dog to bite.
and I will talk to you outside.
I'm not going to talk to you
What the
outside.
do you want? What the do you
I
want
want
inside
to
my
face
house?
real crime.
Bring your supervisor to my home now. Yeah, bring them all.
We'll turn
You
the
have
video
no
back.
right
Please
to be
do it.
inside. No, don't talk to them.
Please.
You have no right to be inside because they opened the door. They're minors. I'm the adult here. This is my home.
She said she's the adult.
She's not the She's my daughter. Get the out of my.
She said she's the adult. Well, I'm correcting the record. She's my daughter. I'm the adult.
And what's he going to do if he gets in there?
Exactly.
What
And
the fuck?
notice how he's getting bold and pointing fingers and stuff. Okay, watch what happens next.
Yeah, he's trying to distract.
Yep, watch.
I'm not going to go.
Then call your supervisor right now.
Or 15 minutes.
After Shirey points at the deputy, he grabs her and pulls her onto the front porch before putting her in handcuffs.
Hang on.
And put me in the ground. I double dog dare
Don't
you.
touch me.
This is my home, bro. You're in my house.
I am
You're
telling
in my house. Don't do that. You're in my. I didn't touch you. Her. Did I touch you?
All right, he did the right thing. That's a bad bitch right there. I like her.
Yeah, that's why I say I give her kudos for standing up to do what she needs to protect her house. I don't know if she's got a man in the house or whatever, but I know that the others were all minors and she was the one that was supposed to be up there at that door.
Right.
This officer is egregious.
Right. So it's hopefully smart. I don't know if this would have been smart or not, but to just close the door at that point and lock it. Like, I think
Yeah.
at least be funny.
Well, if they could, yeah. But see, these are the heathens, and notice what the heathens are doing. Like I said, there's no other man around. Those are minors and a woman. These people are attacking women and children. And you're worried about the men going off in foreign wars and killing women and children over there. It's happening in your own territory, folks.
Well, here's the thing is that let's spend a lot of time with little bumper sticker tickets and stuff. And let's spend a lot of court time and civil money on headlights being out. And, let's hang around these places that aren't really all that dangerous. But we're still wearing the uniform and we're still heroes because we haven't learned that we only seem to put ourselves in situations that we can seemingly be dominant, whereas other crime, other heavier crime may actually be a bigger danger to public safety, but the cowardice will allow this type of thing to happen.
Right, because that's an endangering their life, and their perspective is they got to make it home. So while the guns are flaring, stay away from the guns that are flaring to get the people that are already cowering in their fear of daddy and wanting that protection. Go protect them. Protect them hard and strong and deep.
You can't do anything. You're just going to make it worse.
The sheriff's department says that she was ultimately booked into the jail for resisting arrest and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. It appears from the video.
Resisting arrest for loud noise? Excuse the fuck out of me?
He didn't say, he never said, did he ever say you are under arrest?
No. Nothing whatsoever.
Dude, she's gonna win like $100,000.
At least.
That Shirey did not touch the deputy throughout the confrontation and that the deputy is the one who initiated contact. The
He
sheriff's
did.
office declined to answer questions about the deputy's conduct that is depicted in the video. This is what the sheriff's office said in a statement. This incident occurred over a month before being posted to social media and only days before the arraignment of the individual arrested for delaying/obstructing an investigation and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. All
Delaying/obstructing an investigation. No, you didn't follow the proper procedure. Again, dispatch was given a service call with a service address. You did not go to the proper service address.
That's so low level, dude. That's like so old school. That's like number 2 in the book. Like number 1's you fit a description. No, and number 2 is obstructing justice.
Yeah, what was the justice about a loud noise? This loud disturbance call. I've never heard of that. Never heard of that. That's why I say this is Napoleon complex. He thinks
Hey, yo, this is why I say we should be getting into the fenced yard business.
Oh no, I believe on dogs on leads. I like dogs on leads. Post any kind of mailbox or anything on a post out at the curb. Dogs on leads that can reach the front door and around to the sides. One on one lead that can get up on the porch and on the into the front door, and one on the other corner. Then of course you got some that might be running loose in a fenced-in backyard in the back.
Yeah, but that's introducing a whole new
security system. Yep.
And a pussy of their dismissal of morality, future dismissal of morality through videos, evidence, and proofs I've seen of them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah.
All body-worn camera footage has been obtained, and the sheriff's office says it will conduct a thorough investigation to determine if
Of
discipline
course
is
they
warranted.
will.
So those are the facts. The neighbor calls the cops because...
Of course they will. They'll investigate themselves. See, that's the wrong hands. See, it's the surety company that's supposed to do the investigation, and it's the surety company where the man is supposed to make the claim, not the administrative courts.
Of a loudness complaint, cop shows up, rings the doorbell, minor opens the door, closes the door. That apparently offends the police officer.
At least in my opinion, that's what my research shows me, and that's the way I'm going about it. What was that, Brown Boy?
Just the way he goes. Apparently, that offends the police officer when he closed the door.
Yeah. Yeah, please don't offend the nice officer.
Yo, it off-ended this dude.
Yeah, that's why I say Napoleon complex. He just went totally the fuck off.
Bro, why didn't he just sneak through the doggy door if there would have been one big enough? I bet he would have.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mom comes to the rescue, asserts her rights, and the cop doesn't care. He comes in, grabs her, ultimately drags her outside, and performs a warrantless arrest. So the problem here, the issue here is that the officer had no warrant to enter the home, had no warrant to arrest the woman. Why does that violate the Fourth Amendment? You don't have to take...
So he doesn't have a search warrant or arrest warrant. Those are the two types of warrants you can get, or a possible bench warrant, which is an administrative warrant only. Which is they actually issue those quite often, and people fall victim to those too. But what we're talking about here again is that there was nothing but a complaint lodged of a loud noise.
Right.
That's not a criminal action, and it's not a civil action.
Right. What's a civil action?
Well, it's a city ordinance, and if they find somebody guilty of it, then they could convict them. But nobody's there with a decimal meter to figure out whether it was really loud or not.
And honestly, I'm not trying to throw any shade, but like, we don't know. Maybe there's a history, and there's it probably breaks down to like a feud of a sort. I'm only guessing though, because of the non-love for the neighbors and stuff like that. But
well, yeah, and that's why I say, even with the dispatch call, that's a service call to a service address. They never go to the service address. They go to the one. in a First Amendment audit, they go to the service address.
Point.
That's because the auditor is at that address, and so they go in and then they accost the auditor instead of talking to the postmaster or whoever. See what I'm saying?
I missed that there. Sorry.
In this case, they had a service call to a service address.
Yes.
Now I could see for a loud noise complaint if this woman was over at that address yelling and screaming.
Right.
But that's not the situation.
Right.
Situation is that the service call was made to that service address, and instead of going to that service address, he came to the other address where they complained about.
Yeah, where he relied on his perception of what children were doing.
Right. And that's his own fault.
Being an adult himself, not understanding it's only a noise complaint.
Right.
And
well, not only that,
actually be stopping a robbery, but in fact he's going to invade a home.
right. He's doing exactly opposite of what the law is intended, and he's doing it out of a loud noise complaint by going to the wrong address and escalating it.
Take my word for it. California is in the Ninth Circuit. The main case in the Ninth Circuit that applies here is called U.S. versus George, and it's from way back in 1989. This George case is actually pretty interesting. So on December 24th, 1986, at approximately 1 p.m, a police officer named Cartonen participated in the investigation of an armed robbery that had just occurred at the Security Pacific National Bank in Long Beach, California. And while there, he interviewed the witnesses who described the assailant and explained to him that before exiting the bank, the assailant had told everyone to tell the police that the Orange County Kid had been there, and also Merry Christmas. Now that cop talks with some other cops. Now they think they know who this guy is, and they go and they start surveillance on his house. And when they eventually see him, they just sort
of think they know who this guy is.
Okay.
That's it. That's all they're going on, brother. They have no warrants of any sort. They've not nothing entered into the courts yet. All they've got is an investigation.
Is this something different?
Yep, this is a court case from 1989 that he's pointing out is so similar to the current situation that it's going to be hard for him to go forth with those charges.
Okay, because of the surveillance difference and so forth. Okay.
Sort of barge in, arrest him. I believe they shot him in the process. And they did all of that without bothering to go get a warrant. And here is what the Ninth Circuit said.
Without bothering to go get a warrant. In other words, they can't just go into somebody's home without a warrant to arrest him because they saw him there, because they think he's connected to a crime. They have to have an indictment, and therefore a warrant issued based upon that indictment. They don't have any such thing. They can't get any such thing in a noise complaint. He had no business being at the address he was at. Same here.
Well, he didn't even call his supervisor, or I don't think he called. He may have said something about, my life is in danger. This woman is asserting her rights. Please help. I may have heard him say that into his radio. So I don't know what happens next.
Yeah, well, we're going to see.
Law that equally applies here. Warrantless arrests in the home are presumptively unreasonable, and they're prohibited by the Fourth Amendment. A warrantless arrest may be reasonable for Fourth Amendment purposes, however, if exigent circumstances justify their failure to obtain a warrant. So when this
exigent circumstances is a loud noise complaint, exigent circumstances.
I don't know what exigent means.
Emergency.
You could only say that if you were to define the service you're providing under emergency.
Correct. So could a loud noise complaint be an emergency? Hey, I heard a loud noise. I don't know what it is. Oh my God, let's declare the emergency and find out for sure what it is.
I'll tell you what's an emergency is emerging your body into a private house based off like pissed off ego, like because you actually thought the woman could physically take you.
Yeah. It's funny shit, man.
Nah, man, but I hope nobody gets hurt.
If there's a lawsuit or if there's a criminal case, the government bears a twofold burden. The burden shifts. Now, the government, because they did not have a warrant, must show probable cause to secure the residence and also
Is there
probable cause to secure the residence?
For a noise disturbance?
Yeah, and he hasn't done any investigation. He went to the residence and secured it. So far as to say he owned it.
Okay.
secondly,
what's
it must
number
show the
two?
existence
Sorry,
of exigent circumstances to excuse the lack of a warrant. The first part of that
I missed that. He said it too quick.
probable cause requires a reasonable warrant, must show probable cause to secure the residence, and also, secondly, it must show the existence of exigent circumstances to excuse the lack of a warrant. The first part of that probable cause requires a reasonable belief, evaluated in light of the officer's experience and practical considerations of everyday life, that the suspect
God.
committed a crime and is to be found in the place to be searched. Now, second,
Is found in the place to be searched.
You are
Meaning
too
there
far
still
loud
must
noise.
be a warrant. Right, there must be a warrant under probable cause. So the loud noise fits none of that. It's not a crime.
secondly, exigent circumstances for the government to demonstrate that. Those are defined as those circumstances that would cause a reasonable person to believe that entry was necessary to prevent physical harm to the officers or other persons, the destruction of relevant evidence, the escape of the suspect, or some other consequence improperly frustrating legitimate law enforcement efforts.
Okay.
So it would be an emergency to prevent something from being destroyed or displaced as proving evidence of the crime. They don't have any crime again, so they couldn't possibly fill either element. Yet that's what they're trying to play.
It's not
exigencies must be
like dude, I don't even want to tell them how smart they could be if I say this comment. Like their lack of there's just a lack that I'm not going to make them aware of that would help them in their lives that I just realized.
Oh yeah, don't help them in their lives, that's for sure.
be viewed from the totality of the circumstances known to the officers at the time of the warrantless intrusion. Exigent circumstances necessarily imply that there is insufficient time to get a warrant. So officers don't need to wait for a warrant if they reasonably believe the suspect is currently endangering the lives of themselves or others, or
We had a loud noise complaint. We got to the address. We went to the wrong address, actually. We found no noise, but we created some noise. And so we found ourselves under that investigation and found we did have probable cause because she was yelling at us while we were telling her we weren't in her house. But since we're in her house now, we're going to claim it as our own. We don't know what the fuck's wrong with her. She's insane, sir.
Yeah.
currently in the process.
These people don't understand the narratives that are seen in these things. I don't know how people can watch this video and honestly think that that officer had any reason to be in that woman's home whatsoever. Yet we have officials that will see this and have her still sit in jail.
I wonder if somebody was to put the last 10 minutes of this stream up and then vote, cause there's just so many variables except for the force. I haven't heard anything about unnecessary force yet, so that's kind of fucking weird too.
Well, yeah, he wasn't supposed to be in the house at all. That's the unnecessary force right from the beginning. Any force at all when he had no right of enforcement.
Process of destroying evidence. If they take the time to go get the warrant, that evidence will be destroyed or those individuals may be harmed. Or there could be situations where a crime has occurred and police officers have chased the suspect from the scene of the crime to the home, which is just another kind of exigent circumstances if there was a scene of a crime and a chase. But the Ninth Circuit has said that where the police trace a suspect, not chase, trace a suspect to his home, the claim of...
Say what?
In the trace of a loud noise.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, watch what he's distinguishing here.
Oh my God!
Trace and chase. Trace and chase are two different things as well.
Not convincing because there's no immediate or continuous pursuit of that individual from the scene of a crime. In this case, the officer seems to have been relying on that theory that it was sort of a hot pursuit situation and that he was able to chase the kids, the minors inside the house.
See what you said earlier, that it was some sort of hot pursuit, but he wasn't in hot pursuit of a loud noise call. You know what I mean? They were sitting on the porch, and when they saw him come up, they exited the porch and went inside the home. He took that and said they were running from him. Of course. I'd teach my children to run from you too. Come get me. I'll deal with him. It seems natural.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, and that is it shows poorly on his thinking ability. On like if his job is to remain safe, like the dude like amplified it, like, and so like that's not gonna be safer.
Exactly.
But now again, you and I both know that sometimes in cities, people's have histories, right? Of being kind of like known for this or known for, being someone who, I don't know, there's little spats between people and shit.
Oh,
So
you
it's
mean
like,
like me? You mean like me?
what? What?
Yeah, like me.
What? No, I
Well, when I
don't.
have little spats with the neighbor because they want to allow their kids to sit there and line up their fireworks along the edge of my lawn when my dog's out there and light fireworks off in my direction to scare my dog because I ain't home. So I get home and my dog is nervous as fuck. But the only
Oh,
reason they get away with it is because the cocksuckers' mommies and daddy work for the local judicial system at the probation center.
oh, okay. So what about video evidence?
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. It's still like this here. They've got video evidence. They still arrested her. I'm gonna hopefully be able to follow up and find out what goes on with this. I'm sure he will too, and find out. Like I said, this is insanity. That
It's
any other reasonable
stupid.
man would put that woman in jail and leave her there based on this.
Like it's not all the effects. The effects are definitely there and they affect us and shit, but the cause is honestly,
Well, let me ask you this. Was
yeah.
it caused by her asserting and knowing her rights, evidently, or was it caused by him asserting his authority without caring about her rights? As he said, I don't care about your rights.
I think it could be caused honestly by conditioning of a person who allowed themselves to be conditioned.
Yeah, that
Um,
cognitive dissonance, willing to take on the convenience and comfort of the slavery of other men. That's why these people make such good salaries and they go home to beat their own women and children. They're special. The law is for thee and not for me.
uh, yeah, there's some.
That's their cognitive dissonance. They believe they're your authority as well. Just like my mom said, Keith, the police are your authority. I bet you to this day they believe the police are their authority.
Um, One time I had this cop like roll up. I just got off of work and was walking across the street to go like 2 houses down, and then like walk down this like 100-foot driveway and then just go home after getting this food and shit. And like as I'm walking halfway down the driveway, this cop just like pulls into the driveway, and this my friend's sister comes out of the house with her dog, and she could see behind me and I can't, and she goes, "Why are the police here?" And I go, "Well, like what?" So she like instantly took her dog inside, and the guy came up to me and he goes, "What the fuck he said?" He's like, "What's your name?" or something. Like, and I was like, "I live here. This is my residence. This is where I live." And then he just goes like, or he asked me something, and I told him I don't answer questions. And then he was like, "Come with me," and he grabbed me, to which in a manner that let me know, because I wasn't I was like 26. I was just becoming a little bit smarter. and he wanted me to pull away. You know what I'm saying? Like he wanted me to resist in some form. I could just tell the way he was holding that, like, if I made one little move, it would have been turned into "you're going down" sort of thing. So like I played his little stupid walking game with my arm to his car, and he's like, sit on the car, and I was like, dude, I don't want to touch your vehicle. I was like, I don't even want to touch your vehicle. And he did make me touch it, which I felt at that time could have been a form of contracting. So like that's why I was being like a little bitch about it. And then he just randomly searched my pockets. He's not told me anything that like I've done, and I haven't asserted like that he hasn't done this yet. And then like two more show up, and then one's like, "How old are you?" I'm like, I told him I was like 26, and he's like he just didn't like the attitude that he was getting from the younger crowd already for in this city. I felt it would annoy him. And then they tell me that I fit the description of somebody that was walking around some other street. It was like fitted. I told the story to people that I fit a description, and the first guy I told goes, "That's the oldest trick in the book. You fit a description." And I was like, "Holy shit, dude!" We followed up. We went like the place I stayed at. My best friend's mom. She's like kind of like nuts in a good way. She'll like support people like supported me like somehow that I never would have thought of. She was like, "Let's go up to the police station and talk to them about it." And I was like, "All right, yeah."
2 witnesses. Yeah, 2 witnesses.
Oh, dude, we had 3.
There you go.
It was the girl too, and the dog. If they needed to speak canine, their native tongue. So fucking So we get, and she's like all about it, and I'm like, all right, if you guys if you guys think we should go, and I think we should, let's do it. Let's find out what happens. So we go there, and we walk in. We're here to meet the supervisors of these people or whatever on this call. Sure. Like, so we're sitting there waiting for like 30 minutes, nothing. Then somebody she comes up with the idea. She goes, "You should go to the car because they might try to arrest you." And I was like, all right, fine. I'll just go to the car. So I was in the car for like 20 minutes, and then when I was getting bored, so I walked back in. And as I walked back in, the officer, not the supervisor who we asked for, was informing both witnesses of mine of the fact I walk in, he's telling lies, and I said that's a straight lie, dude. That's not how that happened. And then he got up, he got upset, he started walking towards me, and he goes, "You've already talked to me. You're not even allowed to talk to my supervisor anymore." And then
Really?
Yeah, dude. Then his supervisors came out. I was pissed, bro. I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" So his supervisor came out, and he's like this. You could tell he's like some military, like gunnery sergeant bullshit. Like you could just tell it in their face. And he's also got this other guy who looks kind of smart. Like he actually probably looked like a detective to me. But this cat, like Elio or whatever, and they're like, "What's the problem?" I was like, "Look, I'm gonna put this in plain and simple terms for you. This guy is perfect for what you need him for on the streets. Like his little monkey business bullshit." I was like, and I can't really remember. I was like, but like, and then like I don't know. Then they gave me a ticket. They just came by the next week and gave me a ticket on on Valentine's Day actually. So they were telling me that they love me.
Evidently.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
When they tried to close the door on him. However, this would likewise be unconvincing because There is no scene of the crime and no chase that took place from a scene of a crime outside the home to inside the home. It just really doesn't apply at all, except maybe in this officer's mind. Now, as for the
as a loud noise complaint is, that would be the scene of the crime was inside their own home, which to nobody was a witness but the neighbor. And that, again, that's where the service call was made. Yet he didn't go to that address.
traditional exigent circumstances analysis, again, we look at two things. One, was there probable cause to even arrest this woman?
No.
Well, it was a loudness complaint, whatever that was. I haven't heard the 911 call. There may be more facts that make it sound more serious than this video did. At the end of the day, I think the only facts we know are that it was some sort of Karen call, the neighbors being too loud. And that's not necessarily a crime, certainly not
A Karen call. He calls it a Karen call himself. That's all it was a Karen call, a noise complaint. There's nothing more to it.
a serious crime. The point is that at the time the officer knocked on the door, he had no probable cause to arrest the mom that was inside the house. And she wasn't arrested for the loudness complaint. She was arrested for the interaction that he had with her. Most importantly, there is no factual basis for believing that if he had probable cause, that he didn't have time to go get a warrant. There was no indication that anyone was in any immediate danger. There's no indication that evidence was going to imminently be destroyed if he took time to get a warrant. The reason for that is because there was no allegation that any serious crime, if any, had been committed. Now, in the George case, there was an armed robbery at a bank that was involving a serious crime, and the Ninth Circuit still held that the officers violated the Fourth Amendment, that they needed to go get a warrant. So even
because the crime had already happened, it was no longer an emergency. It was a matter of gathering the facts and make sure you knew what you were doing so you get the right suspects.
They're playing Clue to find loud noise ordinances. Holy fuck.
in that case did not meet the exigent circumstances burden that the government has to meet. This one does not even come close. And yet an entire month apparently went by from the time that this happened and this woman was arrested and taken to jail, and the sheriff even finding out that this had taken place. That just illustrates why this officer was able to completely disregard the Bill of Rights in the way that he did. This is another one of those situations where the sheriff is now complaining to the media that, well, nobody said anything earlier. It wasn't until it went on social media that people were outraged. I mean, here you have a video of a police officer, and there's no doubt violating.
Because people inside are covering it up.
No, they're not.
Listen again. They said, we'll investigate. Oh, yeah, you're going to investigate yourself. See, that's why people are losing faith in you. Because you don't investigate. And it's still happening decades and decades and decades later.
Nobody told him, man. Nobody told him, he said.
The Fourth Amendment. There's no doubt. Entered the home and arrested the woman with no sort of any type of warrant. That is presumptively unconstitutional. She was clearly asserting her rights. He clearly responded that he didn't care about her rights. How do we reconcile that? That is presumptively a constitutional violation, and only under certain very difficult circumstances can a government rebut that presumption and show that it was necessary because it was an emergency type situation involving some serious crime or threat of danger or injury. Here, this was a very unserious minor crime with a police officer blatantly violating constitutional rights and the woman being charged as a consequence, not for any crime that the officer had arrived there to investigate, but just for asserting her rights. That was the punishment that she received, and the charges are still pending. So here's what you can do. Only when this footage was shared and started to go viral did the sheriff start to make any sort of comment or even look at this case. Now, apparently they're investigating. They already should have dropped this woman's charges. So what you can do is continue to spread this footage far and wide. And if anyone wants an explanation for why this violates the Constitution, you can show them this video. And you can show them the George case, which I will link in the first pinned comment below. I hope to do a update video on this one, explaining that the charges have been dropped, that a civil lawsuit has been filed, that the officer has been terminated, maybe even prosecuted. The whole problem here is that cops just don't believe that search and seizure violations are constitutional violations. They understand that excessive force, if you beat a handcuffed detainee, they understand that's wrong. That violates their concept of the Bill of Rights. But they just don't care about stepping into the house, holding the door open, warrantless arrest, things of that nature. They only equate their violence with constitutional violations. But really, there is no more severe injury they can cause to the Constitution than violating the sacred protections of our home.
And that's absolutely right, folks.
There's another delusion they use too. He forgot to mention. God, what's it called? When they have their discretion is also one that he left out there. You know,
Yeah.
like some of that is like that discretion programming, like I'll just step in here by discretion.
Yep. And that's
So, yeah.
that channel there, folks, is the civil rights lawyer. Let me pull it up.
I heard they got insurance for shit like this now.
And I'll drop that in the chat for everybody.
Let's see how much the insurance game wants to get in on these public public entities, huh?
Well, yeah, that's why I say it's all about the bonds and everything. And I said earlier in the stream, people think that they're supposed to go to these administrative courts to sue these people. No. In my research, it shows, of course, in my opinion only, my research shows that you're supposed to go to the surety company or whoever's holding their bond and make a claim with them. And they're supposed to investigate it because they're the ones that are paying for the performance bond and the payment bond.
Huh. So you mean
And you're
the bond of like what is this bond? It is an insurity of officer integrity.
correct. You've got the principal, which is the mayor, has a fidelity bond with the Postal Service. The officer has a contract through his employment as an agent of the mayor's office, officers and agents. And so the officer is an agent, a public servant of the public trust, of which the mayor is the principal. In other words, he's the one that owes the obligation. The officer is liable. So he's got a surety bond. The mayor's got a fidelity bond. And when we're talking about trust, the principal is the obligated party, and he is obligated through a transfer agent, which is the trustee. The officer is as the agent, and they are obligated to the people who are known as the obligee.
Is he gated?
He is the gate. He's the one they'll throw under the bus when claims like this come up. You notice the sheriff's not going to take blame for it. It's going to be this deputy. They're going to take everything from this deputy. If they do anything, they're going to take it out of his estate. They're just running estates.
What do you mean? What do you mean they're running us? Oh! You mean you just
Right.
Okay.
So
Okay,
whoever's holding his surety bond will pay the surety bond, but then they'll collect on him through his estate. They'll take him to court on his estate and get recoupment back that way. But
okay, and who oversees that? There better be a third party.
well, generally it's something like bankruptcy. They generally end up having to go through bankruptcy.
Oh.
That's why I say I don't make a claim against that I'm going to sue you and take your house and your boat and then not even know how to sue them in those courts. I've heard people say that, and that's just dumb.
So you don't think that's the right thing to do?
No. Those are administrative courts. You're supposed to be under the administration.
So what do you propose other than isn't that going after their bonds generally ending in bankruptcy?
Well, yeah, and that's why I don't go after their bonds.
Oh, what do you go after?
I place a correction to the record that they don't have any business with me.
Okay. Yeah.
That they can't bond me.
Right.
I supersede the obligations and other securities of the United States, which includes all bonds. I'm already bonded with the immutable promise to seek counsel in God, not the false patriot.
It'd be interesting to have like an intermediary document between their vision and your vision.
Well,
Like it's
well, hopefully
like a
one of
check
these.
mark box, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well, step by step, and that's what I'm working on. Like I mentioned earlier on somebody else's panel, I believe it was Jack's. I was up there, and somebody was running their mouth about my lifestyle and my relationship with my companion and the meaning of it and everything. And I had to explain to them
that's stupid.
because they want to sit here and say that I'm living off of my companion, yet they don't understand the concept that just because a man doesn't bring an income into the home doesn't mean he doesn't have a place in there. And my place in is to keep all the third party officious intermeddlers from coming in and thieving from her estate while she's still alive. One of those processes they use is the banking system, where they can come in and just clear out your bank account if they find find you in default of a false judgment, right? So we no longer deal with the banks. We both got a card with no bank account attached. So now all of her funding from the government that everybody says is a government paycheck, you can call it a government paycheck all you want, but she worked her ass off for damn near 40 years for the public education system and has a retirement plan like most of you motherfuckers don't. I'm merely helping her manage it so it can't be stolen from her while she's still alive, so that she can use it to her benefit as it was stated in her retirement plan.
Yo, they do be fucking with retirement plans, like
all
scam.
these insurance agents that want to come knock on the door and sell her an insurance benefit that she's already eligible for. Oh, she's eligible for the benefit? Yes, sir. Oh, so all we got to do is call Social Security and qualify her as the beneficiary. Make sure it's connected. Well, it doesn't quite work like that. No, you just said it. She's already eligible. That means the record will reflect that she is eligible because you stated it. You wouldn't come here as a representative trying to offer a benefit that's already eligible if it wasn't already eligible by telling her she's already eligible, but it's going to cost you. No, the cost is to have you as a representative if she has to make a claim against it. No, we're not here to make a claim against it. We're here to accept all benefits.
Oh, okay. So that just sounds like offer received.
Correct.
So what's the
And then
problem?
get this, and then when I tell him to get out, he wants to sit there and look, instead of looking at me, he wants to turn and look at my companion like he's going to question her as to whether he's got to get out. So I have to get up off the couch and catch his attention again by saying, "Listen, motherfucker, I said get the fuck out." I don't play games with these people. I'm here to protect my companion, not use her. I don't live off my companion. I do everything I can to help her live to her best.
For sure. What the fuck? I mean, what else would you be doing? Who else can say they're putting in work like that?
And I posted the wrong link down there for the civil rights lawyer. My apologies. I just realized I posted the StreamYard link. So let me change that. There is the YouTube channel for the civil rights lawyer, folks. Yes, Bon Ivers, it is. It's so wrong. You make these projections without realizing. I sat down one afternoon, the medical practitioners of this medical society over here in this area called the Cedar Valley Medical Specialists. They wrote a nice little letter to my companion saying that they were going to cut her from all the services until she paid this debt. And they totaled up this debt supposedly about $1,800. I don't know if it was dollars or cents or whatever, because they never used a dollar sign anywhere on this document.
Whoa.
They never used any plus signs. They didn't use any mathematical equations. All they had was a bunch of numbers that had decimals, and some may or may not have had a minus sign in front of them. So it was unequatable math. And so I simply wrote them a nice quick little letter, said, "Thanks, we've received your offer. Or we accept your offer for the value it contains, because as an unequatable mathematical equation, we could not possibly discern what is actually owed, because there is no dollars amounts. And there certainly is no mathematical equation. It's just a bunch of numbers. So we accept it for zero value. And they never wrote back or anything. And it's been 3 years and they still give her services. So I'll be damned if the mark of Cain isn't worth something. Maybe you ought to look that up sometime.
What is that?
Divine protection of God. Cain, the one that killed Abel, and he came under the divine protection of God.
He did?
Oh yeah. Look up
I thought that was bad.
look up the mark of Cain and see what it really means.
I thought that was
He was
bad.
he was exiled, but in his exile he was given the divine protection of God. They couldn't judge him again.
He couldn't be judged because why?
He was under the divine protection of God. God granted him divine protection. Read those scriptures, folks.
Oh,
anyway.
Well, yeah. Oh, dude, I got to tell you this. One time, I was on. I was like, I don't know, 18 or something, maybe 19, 20, and whatever. I was just like, I don't know, kind of fooling around. Had enough money to like mess around, play around with, time, I guess. And like one of the things that was offered somehow, like it was offered to everyone else, was like some sort of benefit or something. It was like that. I remember it was like George Bush relief. It was like an extra like grand or something. And then like there was all these
another one of those stimulus programs.
Yeah, it was like all these, and then like then there was like this other thing where like they did more payments around like 20 freaking like 15. I can't remember. And then my friends he's like, yeah, I'm getting paid $2,400 a month to do nothing. You know what I mean? And I never. Well, I did take for like it was a year and a half. Like I was just not sure what I wanted to do, except for like probably a little bit of healing. And so like but like a year and a half, like they'd give me like $180, like I think a week, and I would just like go fuck off with it, And so then it got to the point after like 1.5 years or whatever, like I just quit responding to like all these things that they were sending in the message thing. You're supposed to like go to every fucking week. I just got tired of it. So like all of a sudden,
you feel like a rat in a cage, don't you?
Dude, all of a sudden there's a red letter in there, and I'm like, oh shit, I better click this one. And it's like, I clicked it, dude, and it was like, it basically says, you owe us $10,000. It's essentially what this motherfucking thing says. So I was like, all right.
Well, that sounds like a perfect amount that would click an interest in that electronic record that would say, hey, wait a minute, we got to double check this. That's one of those amounts. $10,000. It sends up a red flag.
Yeah, because it was like, when I claimed for the benefit, it would ask like, where have you applied? You know what I mean? So I tell him where I gave him an address where I applied, put my application in. And then eventually, like, I just kept hounding him. I kept hounding him like, yo, there's no way this is correct. Like, and blah, blah, blah. And I hounded him, dude. And I kept making records with these people and keeping names of who I was speaking with and all that shit. And then they're like, okay, you got to go to this place. So they sent me to this place, and there's like 100 other people, and it's like a job. It's like how to get a job or some shit. But it's like also they're gonna do one-on-ones. So like my one-on-one's coming up with 10K, right? Like that's what I'm facing or whatever. So I'm like listening to this presentation. Okay, now it's time for the one-on-one. And dude, I sit down, and I remember like the lady sits down in front of the computer and she's like, your name, blah, 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 puts it in. And then she looks at the screen and she looks at me and she goes, do you know what this thing says? And I'm like, yes, I am aware. And I've made records with so and so forth and forth from these divisions of the blah, blah, blahs. And I am just going to tell you straight up, the fact is, I just am not going to pay you that money. There is no way that I will ever pay you that money. Dude, I swear to God, bro, it went away. I never heard about it again.
Well,
And
yeah,
guess
it was
what?
a false
I was
claim
able to buy
anyway.
a house and everything.
Yeah, it was a false claim to begin with. It was a marketing scheme. You ever heard where they gather up hundreds of,
Oh,
you know, one things that I think of when they try to start gathering people up for this award session is a big old fucking sting to arrest all the people that they've had search warrants out for.
wait, dude, I missed it, bro. I missed it. Hold on. What?
That's one of those things the certain police agencies like to play is they find an address of somebody that they've been looking for, so they send them a notice in the mail that they've won a prize. Come see us at this place on this day. And they get there and there's a bunch of other people there and there's big signs up, hey, you won, and da-da-da. And they go inside and they all get arrested.
Dude, is that a real thing?
Yeah.
No, it is not.
No, it is. It is.
No, it is not.
They've pulled it off several times over, many times over a
Dude, that
couple
is.
decades.
Ouch.
And people still fall for it.
Ouch.
Anyway, we've come to the end of the stream. You got anything on the way out, brother?
Just peace.
All right. Appreciate you stopping up. Always hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And remember, there's a PayPal link down there for anybody that wants to share some love. And you guys know me. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. And that's say I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. And that's on you. So may God bless you and have a good night. We'll see you next time.